According to that report issued by the CIA, there will be, by the year 2015, an enormous increase in the demand for oil and natural gas. But the forecast is that drilling technology should be able to keep up with demand, barring political complications. But water? Well, water is another story.
Water, to just go back to the basics, life of all kinds depends on it. There's no substitute for it. It is replenished, but at a finite rate. And it's very unevenly distributed. I mean, in our country, we are enormously blessed. In Canada, they're enormously blessed. But about half of the people in the world by 2015 will live in water scarcity areas where they have very low per capita amounts of water, too little to sustain whatever their pre-existing level of agricultural or industrial or household usage was, that level of usage.
Forgive the pun, but that sounds a little dry, but of course it isn't. Because that's what leads to wars.
Well, it could lead to wars. I mean, it's going to lead to a lot of problems.
New epidemic that is sweeping across AIDS-ravaged South Africa. It's an epidemic of drug abuse, and the cheap and powerful drug of choice is the very medicine meant to keep AIDS patients alive. In many cases, the United States has paid for these AIDS treatments, but now dealers and addicts are fueling an underground drug market. Jim Chaillot reports from Durban, South Africa.
The drug they're smoking is supposed to save lives. Instead, as we witnessed up close, it's ruining them.
And if we started, there's no turning back.
Last week, I slept with 50 men. I only use condoms for 5 men. If a truck drivers have more money, we don't force him to use a condom.
So the driver will give you more money without a condom?
They give more money, yes.
And coming up, the unmasking of bottled waters. Consumers react to word that many of their pricey favourites come straight from the tap. US have access to some of the cleanest tap water in the world. Nevertheless, many people have come to depend on bottled water, so much so it's become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Sure, it's convenient, but many also believe they're paying for water from naturally pure sources. As Rob Marciano reports, that's often not the case.
Don't let that scenic logo fool you. This water is not bottled from a mountain stream. Now PepsiCo plans to spell it out for consumers, adding the words public water source to the label of its Aquafina brand. And in case you didn't know, Aquafina is actually just purified tap water.
That would make me never want to buy Aquafina again, knowing that it was bottled public water.
Yeah,
like
no,
just
that's...
tap water.
I know that one of the strategic sectors that Israel has started to pursue is water technology. And I shouldn't even say started to pursue, because you've been well established as kind of a leader in that sector.
A deepening drought in the Middle East is aggravating a dispute over water resources after the World Bank found that Israel is taking 4 times as much water as the Palestinians from a vital shared aquifer. The region faces a 5th consecutive year of drought this summer, but the World Bank found huge disparities in water use between the Israelis and Palestinians, although both share the mountain aquifer that runs the length of the occupied West Bank. The bank says Palestinians have access to only a fifth of the water supply, while Israel, which controls the area, takes the rest. In some areas of the West Bank, Palestinians are surviving on as little as 10 to 15 liters a person each day, which is at or below humanitarian disaster response levels recommended to avoid epidemics. In Gaza, where Palestinians rely on an aquifer that's become increasingly saline and polluted, the situation is worse. Only 5 to 10% of the available water is clean enough to drink. Friends of the Earth's Gideon Bromberg says there's a clear failure to meet basic water needs for both Israelis and Palestinians, but that Israelis are taking the lion's share.
Are we out of the drought? For that, we turn to meteorologist Kyle Myers.
Even though we've seen significant rainfall these past few days here in Acadiana, are we really out of drought conditions? Speaking with farmers and LSU Ag Center staff members, they say yes, the rain has helped, but more is definitely welcome. And without that, we are reaching a critical point for many cultivators across Acadiana. From irrigation problems to using up stored wintertime hay, soybeans, sugarcane, rice, corn, and even cattle and livestock have all felt the impacts of the recent dry spell. Luckily, the latest rainfall amounts have been significant enough to help ease the woes of the local vegetation. Last Tuesday,
A drought of unprecedented proportions is affecting 3 states. Temperatures and lack of rain have caused heated debate over water distribution. Lake Lanier is at the heart of the discussion. Hundreds of thousands of people in South Georgia, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle depend on Lake Lanier for drinking water, industry, and electric power. In addition to these concerns, the Endangered Species Act requires certain water flow from Lake Lanier to sustain endangered mussels downstream. The Corps of Engineers has pulled together 70 local, state, and federal agencies, as well as citizen groups, to develop solutions for reduced water levels. The Corps estimates that with no rainfall and normal water consumption rates, there's more than 9 months of usable water left in the lake.
A crowded island with a hot and dry climate. Throughout history, Malta has struggled to find enough fresh water to survive. We travelled 100 metres underground, down through limestone, to see Malta's precious freshwater reserves.
The amount of water coming from the stations comes.
We walked through a system of man-made tunnels to reach a vast underground water supply. But Malta is now taking too much from this aquifer. If people are not careful, this vital source will run out.